Finally, spring came again to Wildwood Heart, and all the animals chose their mates, for this was the time of together. Perry and Porro, like all the others, fell in love and met on an old log. Porro sang a little love song, and Perry sang right back.
Together time is the time of year, when winter's over and spring is here. A wonderful season, and there's a good reason, for this is together time.
Together time is the time to share these happy hours beyond compare.
All nature is waiting, so no hesitating,
For this is together time.
One is too few
two is just right
to welcome this wonderful time of delight. Two is the thing in the brightness of spring.
two of everything. Let come what may, it's together time. When two together we'll always find the joy in the story of spring and its glory, because it's together time.
One is too few
Two is just right
to welcome this wonderful time of delight. Two is the thing in the brightness of spring.
two of everything.
Let come what may, it's together time. When two together we'll always find
The joy in the story of spring and its glory,
because it's together time.
Because it's together time.
The world had never been so beautiful. Then, all at once, just as Perry and Porro were about to touch noses, a sudden thunderstorm came up. Lightning was everywhere. Then it happened. A great blinding bolt of lightning struck Perry's old snag and set it on fire. Perry, in a panic, ran for the treetops, but this was a mistake. Porro tried to call her back. Fire was everywhere. It drove Porro to his underground home, and now he was glad that the beaver had forced him to live down below the earth. Fire swept through the treetops, and Perry broke the grip of fear just in time. She ran down the tree and through the flames, and finally reached the beaver pond. Here a great truce was called. All the animals, the hunters and the hunted, swam together in safety to escape the fire. Then the rains came to put out the fire. Porro came out of his underground den to look for Perry, and Perry left the beaver pond to look for Porro. The fire had left Wildwood Heart in ruins, and worst of all, it had burned a tree so badly it fell across the stream. And at last the marten had a bridge to cross over to Perry's and Porro's side of the stream. It didn't take the marten long to find Perry and Porro, and it didn't take Porro long to decide what to do. He would sacrifice himself to the marten to save Perry's life. He deliberately scolded the marten. The marten rushed after Porro, and Porro led the marten away. Porro was clever and swift in the trees, but so was the marten. Never had Wildwood Heart seen such a chase to the death. The birds had never been so excited. The noise even attracted the wildcat, who was always ready to get in on anyone else's kill. Finally, Porro was cornered on a limb high above the ground. Slowly, surely, the deadly marten came towards him. Then the limb broke. And down the marten and Porro went, straight into the jaws of the wildcat. Perry was a witness to the sight. A tiny cry escaped her. She mourned her loss. After a kill, the forest is never so quiet, so still. The wildcat leaves carrying his prey in his jaws. It is the marten. What of Porro? Well, he always could outwit that wildcat, and had hidden himself beneath the pine needles until the wildcat left. And so nature wrote the happy ending to the story of Perry and Porro. At last they were alone together.
Together, time is the time of year when winter's over and spring is here. A wonderful season, and there's a good reason, for this is together time. But come what may, it's together time, when two together will always find
The joy in the story of spring and its glory,
because it's together.